Okay, guys, I'm going to go over a listing agreement so that you guys know how to properly fill these out. One thing that I do want to point out is making sure that you already have the transaction created in Brokerman, because I've already gotten past that step. I usually also like to make sure that I have comps in the area pulled up, as well as the tax record, because as I go through this listing agreement, I pull from these different resources to make sure that I can fill everything out. So I've already, if we scroll back here, I've already, the listing packet paperwork is already pulled in there. I do rearrange it because it's kind of, in my opinion, a little disorganized, because I like to kind of go in a seamless order for everything to make sense. Otherwise, they're just scrambling through paperwork. And then, of course, I have me as the listing agent and then the seller up here as well. When you are dealing with sellers, the biggest reason why you want to pull tax records is you want to make sure that everybody that is on the tax record is on the listing agreement, because you will need everybody's approval to be able to sell the property. So we're just gonna kind of start here. Let me mute my phone. There we go. So a lot of it is gonna be auto-populated because Brokerman's awesome like that, but you do still want to double check everything. When you're explaining this exclusive right to represent, this is basically stating that we're going to be the exclusive agent, the exclusive brokerage, listing the property, that they're not allowed to list with anybody else. They're not allowed to do any kind of for sale by owner or anything along those lines. Part of the responsibilities of being the listing brokerage is marketing it, negotiating contracts, presenting all offers to the sellers. I cannot stress that enough. Even if you get a ridiculous offer that's $50,000 lower than what your list price is, and you already know your seller is going to reject it, you still have to legally present it. So you want to make sure that you stress that to them, because you don't want them to ever be offended by that. If there's any material adverse facts that need to be disclosed, you are responsible and liable to disclose them if you know about them. The same thing with the seller. We do discuss a little bit about the dual agency and the designated agency. State of Virginia does allow dual agency. Keller Williams, our broker, is very sensitive about dual agency, so you want to make sure you get the clear. Any new agents, it's actually not allowed, just because there's too many lines to cross as a dual agent. I personally, when I already have the listing, do not feel comfortable doing dual agency. I usually end up referring out the buyer to another agent, because I just feel like I know too much about the situation, and I don't feel like I could be objective enough to fully do the best for both clients. So this designated agency, as you know, is two separate agents within the same brokerage. So it would be like me referring business to one of you guys. Under broker fee, this first slot is pertaining to the total amount, which is going to be the 6%. If I can just get my laptop to let me fill it out. There we go. So we're going to write 6%, and then we're also going to do plus the $395 for the admin fee. And then I'm gonna move this right back here because it's being sensitive. And then what you're offering to the other side is usually always 3%. Now, if you take a reduced price commission on a listing, then these numbers will change. And when you take, let's say you take a listing for 5% instead of 6%, you can always put 5 here. You can always offer 2.5%, or take the reduction solely on your side. which is what I have a tendency to do. Like for my brother's listing, I'm doing it for 5%, but I'm taking that loss. I'm not going to put that loss on the buyer's agent. I've never not shown a property that was less than the 3% commission. But if you look at your broker fee, it says 3% on there. So anything less than 3%, you could potentially charge your buyers that. And I've never done that, but that doesn't mean some other agent won't. So this is just my moral compass, and not to really reflect on y'all, but just so y'all understand why I do the things that I do. I don't ever take it away from the buyer. I just take it away because you're the one that agreed to the loss, not the buyer's agent. So, and as you guys know, we work just as hard as a buyer's agent as we do with a listing. So the next document is the CDIF. I'm not going to really go into these documents because they're exactly the same as they would be for buyer. So the consumer disclosure, the summary of rights. I do want to make sure that everything is filled out properly here. I like to throw away fields that I don't need. Summary of rights, it's also the same as the buyer. Cybersecurity is the same. Escrow agency is the same. Now we're going to get into the actual listing agreement. So the legal description you can pull from Realist. I like to make all my stuff centered. I don't know why. It's my weirdness. So when you're looking at the Realist tax records, you will need to download a copy of this as well because it is required for Brokerment. So, but you go through it. It's got your basic information up here. And we are looking for the legal description. Sometimes this is a very simple word, and then sometimes it's this long thing, so you want to make sure it just says legal description, whatever it is. The term, we usually do these bad boys for 6 months, so this one is actually going live on Monday, and then I'm going to put it expiring 6 months from now, which would make it in January, to get my bars right. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I believe I'm going to do it for the 20th. So sales price, we're going to list this house. I pulled comps for it, so we're going to list it at $425. And this right here for seller contributions, this is referring for closing costs. I always put 0 right here. I never volunteer that they're going to pay closing costs. Everybody knows it's common to get 3% in the area. However, I'm never going to volunteer that, especially with how competitive this market is. There's really no need for us to offer that up when there's a good possibility that we'll get multiple offers and the seller won't need to cover that. So the listing data and photos, if you guys have not taken the time out to read over these contracts, I strongly suggest that you do. I can always explain it the way that I understand it, but that's going to still sound very robotic and foreign to you if you don't read and comprehend it yourself. You'll literally just be repeating what I'm saying. And if they ask any questions, it's going to throw the whole thing off. So it's definitely best for you to read and study this yourself. But just to go ahead and discuss it a little bit, listing data and photos, once it's uploaded into RAIN, it becomes property of RAIN. Advertising, we do an extensive amount of advertising when it comes to selling the property, but let's say that there's a platform that they do not want us to use. Let's say they don't want anybody on Facebook knowing that they're trying to sell their house. Then you would put in here the platforms that they don't want you to use. Cooperation, this is just referring to different agents cooperating and showing how the house and the seller basically being reasonable when it comes to getting the house sold and for the different showings. Signage is referring to the signs that we do put in the front yard. Offer to purchase, we're going to have a little bit of disagreement if Lucy or Cindy talks about this. They do not authorize that you disclose to other agents if there's multiple offers. However, I always was taught and encourage my sellers to authorize that there are multiple offers. By doing so, you can encourage a highest and best situation. Best thing to do is to talk about it with your seller to make sure that they understand the difference between the two, and then just go from there. So I personally think it's a good idea, but that's, again, my opinion. Default would basically mean if somebody did not use all the opportunities that are built into a contract to withdraw from it, and then they still decided not to go through with the sale, then they would be in default and could be liable for commissions and stuff like that. We always want to be able to put a lockbox on the house because it makes the house easily accessible for other agents. They could elect not to do that, but then that means somebody would have to meet them at the property every time a showing was to occur, which would be quite the hassle. We're not going to go too much into the representations. Virginia Property Disclosure Act is D4, lead-based paint. This house was not built prior to 1978, so we don't have to worry about that. I'm not in a condo association, and I'm not in a property owners association, but if we were, we would need to fill out whether or not we're authorized to order the docks, which usually we always are. This property is not served on an on-site septic. Most of the time, if it is a septic tank, it's going to be the very next one, not subject to a waiver. I have yet to deal with one that is subject to a waiver, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. CEDA, if we're aware of that. Warranty release and indemnification. This just basically says that the seller is giving us all the information to the best of their knowledge, and therefore that is what we regurgitate, and that if something was to arise afterwards, we cannot be held liable for because we did not know about it. Wood destroying insect infestation report, we know what that is. General warranty deed. This would be if you were having to do a special warranty deed or something along those lines. That would be put right in here. Seller representation just basically means this is a straight up sell. They're authorized to sell the property. There's nobody else with interest in it. You would check one of these two boxes if it was a short sale or if there was a third party approval involved, like bankruptcy or court approval, like if somebody was going through a divorce and they have attorneys involved. Defective drywall. Seller does not have knowledge of defective drywall or pending zoning violations or methamphetamine. FERPTA is referring to non-resident alien, foreign estate, foreign trust, foreign partnerships. So as long as they're a legal resident, you don't need to do any of that. Audio and video recording. This is just basically what we talk about, what we've talked about recently. When, as a buyer's agent, you want to make sure you use caution. But I always take the time out to talk to the sellers about it, to not take personally whatever is being said in their home. Other provisions, administrative fee of $395 will be paid. That's that $395 admin fee. And then digital signatures, everything needs to be done in writing. Yeah. So then they're going to sign that. You're going to want to make sure that all of this is properly filled out with these new contracts. Some of them are and some of them are not. So we're going to fill that out. Thomasina at kw.com. Seller's address. I got her address on here somewhere. That's the address of the property. I don't have her address. So with that being said, I will simply change this over to, we don't need that. And then I believe I have her phone number, so I'll plug that in. Y'all don't be calling my clients. So if you can't fill it out, then have them fill it out. D4, this is going to be the property address, and then again that legal description right there, which if y'all are wondering how I was able to paste that, I had it reserved earlier. I don't have magic powers. The only person that needs to sign this at the time is the owner. So if you're ever on the buying side, you will never fill out these disclosures first. They have to come from the seller first, saying that the seller discloses this information, and then your buyer sign it, okay? So now we know that this is in Virginia Beach, so therefore it's going to be in an ACUS. I don't know if it's ever on tax record, so let's just take a peek to see if it's actually up here, because I'm going to show y'all how I cheat. Yeah, I don't think it's up here. So what I do, the part of the reason why I go ahead and have the comps up is I will pull, we're on Chestwood, so this is the exact same street, and I will pull, and I will look at a couple, and the reason why I look at a couple, because I'm looking for any discrepancies. See, we got one right here that says it's 70 to 75. This one says negative 65, so we definitely have some discrepancies going on. So that kind of bothers me because they're all in the same neighborhood. So I'm going to use the ones that are on the same street, and they both say 65 to 70. There is a way to double check. I just don't know what it is. I'll have to research and get that back to you. So what we need here is an initial from your seller disclosing the noise. We're not in a crash zone, so then we're going to put one right here for no crash. And then obviously their signatures in. So this is the most tedious part, and you guys are going to love filling these out because they're just so detail oriented. And you really should fill out, I always try to fill out as much as possible before I ever meet with the clients, but I also like to make sure that, oh shit, sorry, that was the controller. Excuse my language. But there's going to be some details to this that you might need to ask the homeowner. So you're going to plug in your information. And if you have a second listing agent involved, I always fill this out even though I know my Rain one is this exact same address, but at least I have it in there. The selling broker fee, this is what you're offering to the selling agent. So that's why it's only 3 and not 6. Special commission, no. You're going to pick whatever type of lot box you're going to have on there. I'm going to have a Rain lot box. Showing instructions. So if it's owner occupied, obviously you're going to need some kind of notice. You can say call, text, agent. You can say vacant, go show. I'm going to do text, call, agent. This house is vacant, so I don't have to really worry about it too much. If you, I like to put text first because I'm hoping they're going to actually text me instead of call me, but who knows? I got an email yesterday for a request for a showing, and I was like, well, that's new. Agent remarks, remember this is only going to be seen by other agents. So like, let's say that they were offering a carpet allowance or anything along those lines. That's what we would put right here. I'm actually not going to fill this out right now because I need to go check out the property and make sure that there isn't anything that I need to add to it. So agent remarks is only seen by other agents, as you see up here. And it should never be the exact same thing. Don't be this person. Agent remarks would be like, we're offering a $2,000 carpet allowance, or roof was replaced last year, AC is this old, that kind of thing. So we're going to do some corrections here because the auto population over here has not done us any favors. So we're going to fix that. Area, that's going to be, again, I'm cheating. Area is 45 for South Central, subdivision's 475 for Holland Pines. So we're going to put 45. And we're in Virginia Beach. City, county. Property identification number. This is going to be your tax records, your tax ID. So you're going to go back to your realist and you're going to pull up the tax ID. Subdivision name, I believe I said it was Holland Pines. I hate that this pops up every single time. Get out of the way. Gosh damn it. Sorry. That is super annoying. It's in my way and it won't move. You can look up here. It says Holland Pines right there in the description. But I always look at what everybody else is saying, which is Holland Pines as well. Neighborhood is also Holland Pines. So one thing to take note of on these is this asterisk mark. Is if it has an asterisk mark, then it's required. So as you see, the neighborhood and division does not have an asterisk, so it's not required. Legal description. So once again, I cheat when it comes to the schools. We got Lansdowne, and Christopher Farms Elementary. So I just double check to make sure nobody's saying anything different. And then I start plugging that bad boy in. And we know we're not in a crash zone, but we're doing that for your noise. It's a detached house. We need to fix this price right here because we decided on 425. Expiration date. What the Jesus? We are doing a standard agency ER. I think I checked the wrong one on my exclusive right to represent. I think I checked the wrong one on my other one. Don't tell nobody. Somebody, Lucy's gonna notice. There's just no way. I'm gonna get in trouble. All right, so living space square footage is the 2814. If your sellers tell you something different than on those agent notes, so let's say she says there's 3,000 square feet, so I would put 3,000 square feet, but up here under agent remarks, I would put square footage per seller, or in this case, I'm gonna put per tax records. You don't have to do that, but it's always a good idea so that people know where you're getting your information from. So bedrooms, we're gonna go back to our realist report. We got 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. And I believe that is correct, but you always want to verify that. I don't think there was any half bathrooms at all. Let's see. When you're looking down here, total bathrooms, 333. Looks like there is 1/2 bathroom. I'm gonna have to check this out. This says 5 bedrooms and that says 4. So when we see discrepancies like that, we always want to double check it just to be on the safe side, because the last thing you want to do is get caught up for misrepresentation. I can't remember if this bad boy had a fireplace or not. It's been so long since I've been in the property. All right, so I'll come back to the whole fireplace thing. So you just want to fill this out accordingly. I feel like it does have 1 fireplace, but we'll go back. Again, if it doesn't have an asterisk mark, you don't have to fill it out. I honestly, I will tell you, if you don't know for fact that it exists or whatever, I would recommend that you do not fill it out, because the last thing you want to do is think that you got it right and then somebody comes back and says something differently. So I usually do not. I think actually I do have a first floor master bedroom. Bedrooms with ensuite. Actually, they're not even saying master bedroom anymore. They're saying primary bedroom. So I might want to start implementing that verbiage. Never put your owner's phone number up here, because that's public information. We're not a part of an association, so we don't need this. See, I'm not filling out any of that. City, water heater. Of course, that thing wants to pop up in the way. See, I'm gonna have to ask her these questions because I don't know. My seller lives out of state. Normally I have all, look, it does have a fireplace. And she works quite a bit, so it's kind of hard to catch her on the phone and get everything worked out. But we will do the best we can. So I'm gonna have to ask her about the water heater. Most likely it's electric. Now, what you can do, and I've definitely done this before, is when you go into search and you just type in the number and then the street, it will bring up all information on it. So sometimes I will pull up the most recent sale, which should have been when she bought it. And then I will go down here and I will look at, see what kind of stuff they got plugged in. Look, see, water heaters, gas. So we're gonna plug that in and then verify it. D4 is always your disclosure. If it was a property owner association or pet on premises or owner agent, all those other things, but you're always going to have at least your D4 disclosed. And this is where it's nice to sit there and be able to sit down with your clients to start filling this out, because you want to make sure that you're filling it out correctly and that you're not missing anything. I feel like it did have a foyer. I'm wondering if that 5th bedroom is like an office study, because if that's the case, I'm going to go back and change it to 4 bedrooms and do it that way. People get really, really sensitive if you say that it's got a bedroom and other people wouldn't actually use it as a bedroom. So you have to be careful with that. I know there's walk-in closet. There's most likely a garbage disposal and a dishwasher. Probably a dryer hookup, microwave. Let's go back and look and see if they had a gas stove at the time when they purchased it. Yep. So we'll put that for now, and I'm going to verify all of this stuff when I go by the house today. We're not in a cul-de-sac, so we're not going to check off any of this. Again, if you see the asterisk mark, you got to fill it out. It does have a fence, but it's like this little picket fence. Not much to it. No pool. No waterfront. Parking. The garage is a 2-car garage. And that, we're going to say 2-car attached garage, and definitely 4 space. You definitely fit 4 cars in there. I believe we just discovered that the heating is also gas. We can get this out of the way. Heating, natural gas, and then central air. Exterior is vinyl siding. Roof is composite because it's the shingles. And I believe we have laminate floors and carpet, which I'll verify that. And I'll need to double check to see if there's kind of any tile or anything like that. For the house style, it says contemporary, so that's what I'm going to put. It is 2 living levels. Foundation, I believe it's on a slab, but let's double check. Let's see. Slab. So you can look over all of these to see if any of these are with it. Total rooms. All right. I'm going to have to verify this, but you're going to count. It's total livable rooms. So we got the living room, the dining room, the kitchen. Supposedly 5 bedrooms. And then if there's like a den or anything along those lines, you would count those rooms, or a sunroom. So we're going to leave it at 8, and then I'm going to verify when I get there. That is the only asterisk, so I don't fill out any of these other things. Public remarks, this is where you're going to put your floof. You have to make sure that you're careful with your verbiage here, because you do not want to get dinged by rain by being misleading with your verbiage. So I won't focus too much on that because this isn't really my strong suit, but please feel free to always get inspired by other people because I do it. Listing office to upload photos, and seller financing is always going to be none unless they're willing to actually do seller financing. I usually put all for approvals. Now, if you're selling a condo, some condos may not be VA or FHA approved, so you have to make sure you do your due diligence there. Approximate taxes, we can pull this from here, which is, they don't even have 2019 up here. That's odd. So we're going to put the 3570. I'm surprised that they don't have the taxes for 2019 yet. So even though we already said there is no HOA, we still have to fill out these ones because they have asterisks on it. So you're just going to put 0. Your possessions should always be at closing. Now, if you have a case where they need to do a lease back because they need to close on their house before they can buy, still put closing and then just work that out with the new buyers. And then we're not auctioning off anything. So that's pretty much. So, do your research on how to write a nice description here, unless you are already talented with those kinds of words. I'm very much a literal person, so I just kind of like state the facts and leave that there. So I have to work hard at doing this. Other than that, this is pretty simple and straightforward. Like I said, ideally you want to fill all of this out with your sellers in their presence because you want to make sure that you're not forgetting anything. And then because they're going to also sign off on this. If you have to change anything about this, that has to be done on an addendum, on a listing change form. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Sorry for all the little glitches that we had along the way, but it should help you in the future for any of your listing paperwork. So go sell some houses.